You didn't change it for daylight saving time.
You know what? We're live. Hey, there we are.
It's us.
Yes.
It's back in again.
Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. Here it is, Sunday at noon Central Time, and we have Malcolm behind the controls over there. We got Fred over here, ready to rock and roll. He's going to tell us all about the heartbeat of ATC and its changes. He's actually got himself a little notepad there, so he's ready to rock and roll.
Yes.
Once again, I want to thank you for showing up. We appreciate you liking, subscribing, and sharing our channels. And after Fred talks, I'll give us a little update on what's going on in the ATC system, okay? Fred, take it away, Fred.
You know, anything that comes off the ground, anything that wants to fly, affects the air traffic system. And we've got so many different drones, from drones to experimental aircraft to
Zoom in.
UFOs. Picture like your heart, and your heart pulsing and changing. That's what the system is like. You need to be able to adjust to all the new changes. And with those changes, you need to be trained in the effects they're going to have. For every action, there's a reaction. And we have great changes coming up in the future. In the next probably 5 years, supersonic flight is going to be accepted and growing in the skies. Again, that puts more airplanes up there, making the skies more crowded, but making more demands on controllers. You have drones going up in the sky. Again, controllers responsible to keep them apart, to keep each other away from each other. Then you have the system of weather, and weather affects everything. It affects the controller, it affects the pilot, it affects everything flying, and it affects the people in the back of the airplane trying to get someplace. And hopefully they want to get someplace safe, orderly, and expeditiously. Well, I think you like that little story.
Fred, I'm letting you work it, man.
Well, I'm working, I talked about it, the pulse. The pulse, we have some really great new supersonic research aircraft going into the system from NASA, and they're going to be working with that. Can we put this up on the screen?
Well, good, if I would have had it earlier. Let me see what I could do. I'll try to work on that, Fred.
Okay, and here's
Is
the,
this an email to me?
yes. And here's the drones that are going to be coming up more and more. And those drones are going to be coupled into aircraft. You might have one aircraft and 5 or 10 drones, and they'll be talking to the pilot in that aircraft. He'll decide where they should be going. He'll decide what they should be attacking, or what's attacking them. And whereas you used to have a pilot in every airplane, this will be one pilot and 10 planes. And they choose what is a threat. They'll choose what might be important to carry cargo and deliver it in a disaster area. It would connect also to refueling as they get low. And they also are creating drones now that will do the refueling. They will fly up there and refuel the aircraft and the other drones. It'll be drone on drone. So this is where we're going to be going in the next 5 to 10 years. It'll become more and more part of the system, and it's the controller's job to figure out where they'll fit and how they'll fit.
Yeah, these are the pictures that Fred was talking about earlier, the Royal Air Force experimenting with this Landner, a low-cost one-way attack drone, a range of about 1,000 kilometers. So how many, what is that in miles? 1,000 kilometers, 100, that would be 50, 60, 60 miles. 600 miles.
600.
Yeah, 600 miles. Is that right, Malcolm? You're smiling over there. It's so early for Malcolm over there. He's just seeing he's kind of sleepy over there. And then we have this MGI Engineering Tiger Shark. It's the second of two other effectors. As you could read that yourself on there. So so much fun. We'll take it away again, Brett.
Okay, and all of this is the responsibility of the controller to get them to fit in the system with the passenger traffic. People aren't happy with all the delays they're taking on the ground because we're short of controllers and the skies are crowded. Then you throw weather in there and we have less space to put more airplanes. As that weather increases, you don't want to let more planes come off the ground. That one controller can only handle a certain amount of aircraft, and you don't want to let him get overloaded. As a manager, it was my job to make sure he was busy but not let him get buried. I know myself, I've worked up to 52 airplanes at one time, and definitely gives you a challenge. Your mind is working in 20 different directions at once. I remember at one time sitting on the position for 3 hours just talking and turning and working, and we changed my manual controller, and as he sits down and looks at what's going on, he says to me, "I'm going to just spin a couple of those airplanes down there." And I looked at him and I said, "That is a great idea." I had spent 3 hours of talking and it never crossed my mind. But that gave me a chance to breathe a little bit as the next flood of airplanes came up. We also have the holidays coming up, and from Thanksgiving down to Easter, a good portion of the country increases in traffic. People going to visit family, people moving across the country more. So your friendly controller is working the traffic going through, and he's got to make it work. Rob, would you want to talk about that a little?
Well, sure. Whenever you plug into a position, you got to be ready for anything that's coming at you. So normally when you come into the facility, you're going to get yourself a nice little weather briefing. You're going to find out how the traffic is flowing that day. When you get up to your position, you make sure you get a good relief briefing. You look around, you see what NOTAMs are out, and you're observing all the traffic that's already in the sector, all the traffic that's coming to you, because you're about ready to take over the position. You want to know what's out, what airports are out, what the flow is like at the airports that you're serving, and you just want to be ready when there's weather, if there's any turbulence in the area, and understand that you're going to sit down and you're going to work traffic for a while. Some days it's chickens, some days it's feathers, some days you go in there, you sit on your hands. Some days you go in there and you got sweat rings rolling down to the belt loops on your pants. But you know that the longer you've worked air traffic, the more seasoned that you are. And what I mean by that is, like Fred was saying, he was in there for 3 hours. He knew that he could handle 3 hours worth of traffic. So these new controls that are coming in, their seasoning time is going to be short when they get turned loose, and they're going to have to slowly work up to a limit like 3 hours. But technically, you're not supposed to be on the position more than 2 hours at a time when you need to get a 15-minute break. That
Sure.
is not always
Possible.
right, possible, because there are staffing issues that might be affecting you, or just the fact that you might be too busy to even get out of it. I mean, sometimes you can't leave a sector because the person that's trying to relieve you is now your handoff person, because they just can't get the complete picture. So you're going to have to finish working that whale of traffic going through your sector.
I remember this one time, I was working a sector, and I needed to go to the restroom. But there was no one to relieve me. I sat on that position for 5 hours till I got a break. And I think when I got into the restroom, I cried.
I'm sure we've all been there, Fred,
Yeah.
but that's an interesting thing, you know, this last Tuesday, Sean Duffy got a group of people together and he, I want to say, Secretary Duffy and the acting administrator, Chris called the top innovators in the country together to talk about the technology and the expertise and how to modernize the U.S. airspace to enhance the safety, reduce delays, and deliver reliable advanced system that the air traffic controllers need, you know. But we're at a moment in time when we can truly make a difference in our control system and build it brand new, according to Duffy. You know, bringing the best and the brightest to provide official critical feedback on the plan to help will ensure to get this right, and they'll be able to move forward at lightning speed when they finally get some plans in order, right? But they do need to look at fixing the system. There's a lot of antiquated equipment out there that they're utilizing, and you can see that when the news pops up and they tell you that such and such is out, the radar was out, or the landlines are down, and or the links are down. And if you're out there digging a hole in the ground, make sure you contact the people in charge about getting your area fixed, because we've had lines cut by somebody just digging a hole in the ground and knocking out the system. Imagine that. So anyway, this thing that Duffy had gotten together was the first time, and it's technically for not just the FAA air traffic facilities, but the non-FAA air traffic facilities, because not all air traffic facilities are run by the FAA. There are some independent contractors that are running towers out there also. So their equipment, you can imagine, is probably worse than what the FAA is working on. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring you up on that.
Is there anybody out there listening that has some questions? Do we have anyone listening that,
Well, we have one person that listened and sent us some nice messages. So
that must have been my wife Peggy.
Binnicker B6H. Okay. Anybody else? Can you all hear me okay? I'm guessing that the sound is good quality. Yeah. Well. Good. Well, the FAA's got a $3 billion annual request for facilities and equipment, and hopefully they get funded. I know that they're going to get $150 billion for modernization in the not too distant future.
If Congress ever releases it.
Well, that's a completely different story.
Another
yeah.
part of the equation.
Right. And the problem there is that you got both sides, you know, trying to one up the others and tell you that nobody's wanting to pass this. It's the filibuster that's put in place that's stopping it. You know, nobody wants to see people starve. Nobody wants to see people not get paid. But I would sure appreciate it if it wasn't the workforce out there that's not getting paid, and it was you congressmen and senators that weren't getting paid. So you could feel the pain of this. The American people don't need to feel your pain. You need to be able to get in there and negotiate. But I'm going to leave that for another day, another discussion, because we really don't want to get political on the channel. But we do want to highlight the fact that there are idiots up there in the Senate and Congress right now that are like acting children. You know, let's start moving this thing along. Get these people paid, get these kids fed. Now, we got little booklets right here that we want to talk about. Right here, you can buy one of these online. I think it's $5 or $6, and you'll find out everything you always wanted to know about air traffic control, from the beginning when it started to right up to just about this year. And we have modernized the booklet to bring it up to date. We also have coffee cups, and we have little coasters that you can put your thing on. I have tags that you could use for your luggage. Here's one of our beautiful mugs that have our QR code on the back and Behind the Scope LLC.
And it even comes with coffee.
Yeah, well, Fred always has coffee. And I want to ask is if you're all out there still enjoying the the shows that we're putting out. We just put another one out this week, and it had to do with fam trips that we used to take. Back in the day, before 9/11, we used to be able to get up in the cockpit and take about 5 or 6 fams a year. One international.
Yeah, might have been a few more than that. It grew through the years.
Yeah, and then after 9/11, it stopped because they didn't want anybody passing that cockpit door, and I can understand that, because you had some really nefarious people out there that was trying to do harm to our country. And we kind of took care of them later on. And then now I know the FAM program's back on, but I don't know what it's like to try to get a FAM right up in the cockpit. So those things were always very beneficial to the controller. Got to see what it was like on the other side, being a receiver of the services that are provided. You got to hear how the correct phraseology works, and how the flight plans help provide efficiency for the air traffic system and keeping it safe. But the one that we just put up this week is some interesting stories. Tom Threadgill has a pretty good one on there, and Stan Jorgensen starts us off. In fact, I might even on there telling you a story about a hot chocolate event that happened to me on a fam trip. So maybe if you get a chance, you can watch that and kind of enjoy it. So, what else you got, Fred?
No, I just remember the FAMs, and they were a great education. You know, when a controller gives instructions, they really should know what they're asking the pilot to do. And with the FAMs, you learn, and again, as designs of aircraft have changed, airplanes have a lot of problems being able to go down, meaning descend, or climb, and slow down at the same time. You know, they can go fast and descend, but they have to slow them down. There used to be aircraft that they could actually reverse 2 engines to help them come down. Now, they only have 2 engines as opposed to 4, and it changes the whole flight characteristics. The newer aircraft can perform in different ways than the older ones could. And through the FAM program, we learned what those airplanes did. I remember the first time I was on a 747, and after we were up in the air, the captain got up and took me out of the cockpit. We went into the tail, and he had me just look down the aisle, and you could see the flexing of the size of the airplane with the weather and turbulence. You know, you don't realize that the airplane has actually got some movement to it. Just as on the wings, they have movement. They don't flap like a bird, but there is movement in them. When they're being manufactured, they actually have tests that they can put those fuselage designs through to see how much flexing it can take before it breaks. That also creates an environment that the pilot knows what he can put that aircraft through, or he has to stay away from a weather situation that might cause so much flexing that it's going to damage the airplane. You ever experienced things like that, Rob?
No, I have experienced some things on FAM trips, but I've never gotten up there to actually watch the aircraft flex. You know, Boeing has a program that they run these airplanes through that flex it for, I forget how many, thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours to find the stress points when the equipment's going to fail, like the wing spars and the empennage and all of that. So I know that they're put through a very, very rigorous.
But they also
example.
put weight on that wing to see how high it'll go
Yeah.
before it breaks,
Yeah.
how low it'll break. And I think something like a 777 can flex 8 feet
Wow.
up and down.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of flexing.
So I really haven't experienced anything else other than what I've talked about on the FAM trip, and anything else I don't want to talk about from FAM trips. I told them that I would take to the grave with me with the pilots, so none of that has to be discussed. I know this week I'll be leaving Houston. I'm going out to Alabama. I'm going to be out the Mariner and Marlin Association reunion. I'll be looking forward to seeing that group and taking some of their stories and documenting the story of the aircraft that they used to fly. That aircraft, I believe, has now been retired, and the squadron is having a reunion. And I'm looking forward to having some fun out there with y'all. So we'll see you. We'll see you then, guys. So
Okay,
that's all I got, Fred.
me too.
All right. So
And enjoy your trip out to Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah. Driving? Yeah, you got it. Driving or fly?
I'm gonna drive.
It'd be a nice drive.
Yeah, 'cause that's an hour and a half, maybe.
More than that, but anyways, okay.
I drive fast.
I can give you a map. Maybe you can stop over in the Blue Ridge Mountains for me and pick up some more of those apple cakes.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not, Fred. That might be out of my way. Alabama's on the coast. Carolina's down up
Well,
north.
that's, okay, back to Pascagoula.
We're gonna have to get you to draw the map again, Fred.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, look, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for Malcolm. We have somebody over here also. Bo has joined us today. He's checking out what Malcolm's doing. So thank you for being with us. And, it's always good to have people on set. Anybody that wants to come out or anybody that has a short story to share, just contact us. Let us know. We'd enjoy putting it out for you. And I just want to say one more thing. This week we had a good friend of ours pass away, Jack Buckles, and Fred and I attended the services yesterday. It was very, very well done. Debbie and his two daughters, exemplary job. Those children got up and eulogized their dad, and Jack, I know, would have been very proud. He's probably watching them right now from a good spot up there. So another one of us gone. So
we also have one of our fellow controllers, Frank Wolford.
yes, Frank Wofford is in the hospital.
Yeah, some heart condition
Some
problem.
some problem, but
We hope he recovers from that.
so speedy recovery to you, Frank, and anybody out there that's not well. We'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Okay. So happy trails to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for showing up with us, and y'all make sure you learn how to love one another out there. Right. Goodbye.
Have a good week.